Stop for a moment and listen carefully, because what I'm about to say is not casual, it is not ordinary, and it is not for everyone. If you have ever felt different, if you have ever wondered why your path seems harder than others, if you have ever sensed a strange fire inside you that refuses to die no matter how fierce the storm becomes, then you must pay attention. There are signs, unmistakable signs, that God has set you apart. There are marks upon your life that reveal you are not random, not forgotten, not overlooked. You are chosen. And when God chooses someone, the world may not recognize it at first, but heaven has already declared it. The first sign that you are God's favorite chosen one is that your life has never been easy. You have faced battles that others could not understand. Doors closed in your face without explanation. Opportunities slipped through your fingers at the last moment. People walked away when you needed them most. And you ask God, why me? But what you did not realize is that hardship is not a punishment. It is preparation. God does not train ordinary souls through ordinary paths. He allows pressure because pressure creates strength. He allows opposition because opposition sharpens discernment. If your life has felt like a battlefield more than a playground, it is because God is shaping you for impact. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Steel is forged in fire. And you, my friend, have been in the fire not because you are rejected, but because you are refined. The second sign is that you feel deeply misunderstood. Even among your own family, even among friends, you often sense that no one truly grasps what is happening inside you. Your vision seems too big. Your dreams seem too intense. Your hunger for God seems excessive to others. They tell you to calm down. They tell you to be realistic. But there is a restlessness in your spirit that refuses to settle. That restlessness is not confusion. It is calling. When God places a purpose inside someone, it creates a holy dissatisfaction with mediocrity. You cannot fit into small boxes because God did not design you for small living. The loneliness you feel is often the echo of separation for elevation. God sometimes isolates His chosen ones so their ears become sensitive to His voice rather than the noise of the crowd. The third sign is that you are constantly tested in areas where you are strongest. Have you noticed that the very area where you have the most potential is the area that faces the fiercest attack? If you are compassionate, people try to take advantage of you. If you are generous, resources seem tight. If you are gifted in leadership, you face rebellion. This is not coincidence. The enemy attacks what threatens him most. And the areas under attack often reveal the areas of your anointing. God allows these tests not to weaken you, but to strengthen your foundation. When your compassion survives betrayal, it becomes unshakable. When your generosity survives lack, it becomes supernatural. When your leadership survives criticism, it becomes undeniable. Testing is confirmation. It means heaven has invested something valuable in you. The fourth sign that you are God's chosen one is that you have an unusual resilience. You have been knocked down, but you always rise again. You have cried, but you did not quit. You have doubted, but you did not walk away from God. There is something inside you that refuses to surrender completely. That something is not human willpower alone. It is divine preservation. When God marks a life for purpose, He guards it fiercely. There were accidents that could have ended you, mistakes that could have destroyed you, decisions that could have ruined everything, but somehow you survived, somehow you were redirected, somehow you are still here. That is not luck, that is favor, that is protection. That is evidence that God's hand has been upon you even when you did not recognize it. The fifth sign is that you are uncomfortable with injustice and falsehood. When you see corruption, something rises within you. When you witness cruelty, your heart burns. You cannot remain silent easily. Even when silence would be safer, your conscience refuses to let you rest. This is not mere personality. It is alignment. God's chosen ones carry a portion of his heart. They feel what he feels. They are disturbed by what dishonors truth. And because of this, you may have paid a price. Speaking truth may have cost you friendships. Standing for integrity may have cost you promotions. Refusing compromise may have cost you popularity. But understand this, God values character above comfort. When you refuse to bow to falsehood, you are proving that your loyalty is not for sale. The sixth sign that you are God's chosen one is that you experience seasons of divine silence. There are times when you pray and heaven seems quiet. You seek direction and receive no immediate answer. And in those moments, doubt tries to whisper that you are abandoned. But divine silence is not absence. It is development. A teacher is often silent during the test. God sometimes withdraws the feeling of closeness so your faith matures beyond emotion. He is strengthening your trust. If every step were explained, you would rely on explanation instead of faith. And God is not raising you to depend on feelings. He is raising you to walk by conviction. Silence stretches your capacity. Silence deepens your roots. Silence teaches you to stand firm even when you cannot see the outcome. The seventh sign, and listen carefully, is that despite everything you still believe. After heartbreak you still hope. After delay you still expect. After failure you still pray. That persistent belief is not normal in a world that gives up quickly. It is the fingerprint of God upon your spirit. He has placed eternity in your heart. He has woven purpose into your being. The fact that you are still seeking Him, still desiring growth, still hungry for meaning, that alone is powerful evidence that you are not ordinary. God draws His chosen ones toward Himself. He plants within them a longing that nothing else can satisfy. Understand something profound. Being God's favorite chosen one does not mean you are exempt from struggle. It means you are equipped for significance. It means your life carries weight in the unseen realm. It means your obedience echoes beyond what your eyes can see. And the enemy knows it. That is why the warfare has been intense. That is why the opposition has been persistent. But greater is the one who called you than any force that rises against you. You must stop interpreting difficulty as rejection. Instead, interpret it as confirmation. When storms gather around your life, ask yourself, what greatness is God protecting inside me? When critics speak loudly, ask yourself, what destiny are they unknowingly announcing? You are not fighting random battles. You are navigating divine preparation. Every tear has watered your strength. Every delay has matured your patience. Every setback has redirected your path towards something higher. There's a reason you cannot settle. There's a reason ordinary living feels empty. There is a reason you sense that your life must mean more. That reason is calling. And calling is not a casual invitation. It is a sacred assignment. God does not choose based on perfection. He chooses based on purpose. He does not seek flawless vessels. He shapes willing ones. Your flaws did not disqualify you. Your past did not erase you. In fact, your scars often become the evidence of your survival. If you are God's chosen one, you must guard your heart fiercely. The greater the calling, the greater the need for discipline. Do not let bitterness poison you. Do not let pride corrupt you. Do not let fear paralyze you. Favor is not for arrogance, it is for responsibility. Being chosen means you are accountable. Your words matter, your decisions matter, your integrity matters. You carry influence even when you do not realize it. Some of you have been waiting for a sign from heaven, something dramatic and unmistakable. But the signs have already been present in your life story. Look at your resilience. Look at your endurance. Look at your refusal to give up on God. Look at the strange alignment of events that kept redirecting you. Look at the inner voice that keeps calling you higher. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. The world may overlook you now. They may underestimate you. They may label you as too intense, too spiritual, too ambitious, too different. Let them. Heaven's approval outweighs human applause. God's endorsement is more powerful than public recognition. When the time is right, what has been hidden will be revealed. What has been cultivated in private will manifest in public. But until that moment, remain faithful, remain humble, remain persistent. You are not chosen for comfort, you are chosen for impact. You are not favored for ease, you are favored for purpose. And when God decides to elevate sumo, no opposition can permanently block it. Delays may occur, but denial cannot stand against divine decree. If He has marked you, nothing can erase it. Feel the weight of that truth. Let it settle deep within your spirit. You are not random. You are not forgotten. You are not ordinary. The battles you faced were not meaningless. The tears you cried were not wasted. The silence you endured was not abandonment. It was shaping, it was strengthening, it was preparing. Rise with confidence, not arrogance. Walk with humility, not insecurity. Pray with boldness, not hesitation. Trust with conviction, not doubt. Because if these signs resonate in your life, if these patterns echo your journey, then you must accept the reality that God's hand has been upon you all along. And when you finally embrace that truth fully, when you stop shrinking and start stepping forward, when you align your will completely with His purpose, you will witness doors opening that no human effort could force. You will see clarity replacing confusion. You will feel strength replacing fear. You will walk in authority not because of who you are alone, but because of who called you. Do not despise your pain. Do not despise your difference. Do not curse your process. The very things that made you question your worth are the very things that reveal your selection. God does not make mistakes. And if He has allowed you to survive everything that was meant to destroy you, then understand this with unshakable certainty. You are here because you are needed. You are preserved because you are appointed. You are favored because you are chosen. And let me take you even deeper, because being chosen by God is not merely about surviving storms. It is about carrying something eternal inside a temporary body. When God marks a person, He deposits within them a burden that cannot be ignored. It is a holy weight, a divine pressure that pushes you beyond comfort and beyond convenience. You cannot live only for yourself anymore. Even when you try to focus on small ambitions, something inside you whispers of greater responsibility. That whisper is not imagination. It is divine insistence. God does not allow His chosen ones to remain asleep for long. He will shake your peace until you awaken to purpose. Have you noticed how your convictions are stronger than your fears? You may feel afraid, but you move forward anyway. You may tremble internally, but you still speak truth. That is not recklessness, that is courage planted by God. The chosen are not fearless, they are faithful. Faith does not eliminate fear, it overrules it. When God breathes purpose into someone, fear becomes secondary to obedience. You feel the weight of doubt, but the call is louder. You sense the risk, but the assignment is stronger. That internal battle is proof that something divine is at work within you. There's another dimension to being God's chosen one. You are often positioned in environments that challenge your integrity. You may find yourself surrounded by compromise, shortcuts, and moral confusion. And yet, something inside you resists. You cannot fully participate in what violates your conscience. You feel tension because you are built for alignment, not assimilation. God plants His chosen ones in dark places so they can carry light without being consumed by the darkness. But light must remain pure to illuminate effectively. That is why you feel constant conviction, It is protection. God guards your character because your character is the foundation of your influence. Some of you have wondered why blessings sometimes come with battles attached. The moment you step into progress, opposition intensifies. The moment you commit to growth, distractions multiply. This is not coincidence. Advancement attracts resistance, but resistance is evidence of movement. If you are stagnant, there would be no need for opposition. The friction you feel confirms forward motion. God allows challenges to accompany elevation so you never mistake His favor for your own strength. The battle keeps you dependent. The struggle keeps you humble. The tension keeps you praying. You must also understand that chosen ones often walk through seasons of pruning. God will remove people, habits, and even opportunities that once felt essential. At first, it feels like loss. It feels unfair. It feels confusing. But pruning is not destruction. It is preparation for greater fruit. A branch cannot produce more if it clings to what drains it. God sometimes subtracts before He multiplies. He clears space before He expands territory. And if you are experiencing separation right now, do not panic. Trust the wisdom of the one who sees beyond your immediate emotions. What leaves your life under God's hand makes room for what aligns with your destiny. There's a fire in your spirit that refuses to settle for shallow living. You crave depth. You crave meaning. You crave intimacy with God beyond routine rituals. That hunger is sacred. It is not religious performance. It is relational pursuit. The chosen are never satisfied with surface-level spirituality. They seek understanding. They wrestle in prayer. They question in order to grow, not to rebel. And God honors that pursuit. He reveals deeper layers of wisdom to those who genuinely seek Him. The fact that you desire more of Him is proof that He has already drawn you closer. Another sign of being God's chosen one is that your mistakes do not define your future. Yes, you have stumbled. Yes, you have made decisions you regret. But somehow those errors did not destroy your destiny. Instead, they taught you lessons that strengthened your discernment. God has a way of transforming failures into foundations. What was meant to shame you becomes a testimony of resilience. What was meant to limit you becomes a reminder of grace. The chosen are not flawless. They are refined through correction. When you learn from your missteps, instead of being crushed by them, you demonstrate maturity shaped by divine guidance. You may also notice that you carry an unusual sensitivity to God's direction. Small nudges matter to you. Subtle impressions guide your choices. While others ignore their conscience, you cannot. When you disobey even in minor things, you feel inner unrest. That sensitivity is not weakness, it is closeness. The more God prepares a person, the more finely tuned their spirit becomes. Like an instrument adjusted to perfect pitch, your heart responds quickly to His movement. Protect that sensitivity. Do not numb it through distraction. Do not silence it through compromise. It is one of the greatest treasures you possess. Chosen ones often experience delayed recognition. You may work hard without applause. You may serve faithfully without acknowledgement. You may give generously without appreciation. And for a time it seems invisible. But God measures differently than the world. What is unseen by people is fully seen by Him. And when the season shifts, the hidden labor will produce visible impact. Do not chase recognition prematurely. Premature exposure can damage undeveloped strength. God reveals at the right time what He has been cultivating in secret. There is also a refining loneliness that accompanies calling. It is not that you are unloved. It is that your journey is unique. Not everyone can walk the path assigned to you. And sometimes God reduces your circle so your dependence increases. Isolation can either breed bitterness or birth clarity. If you lean toward God during those quiet seasons, you will emerge with sharper vision and deeper confidence. Loneliness is temporary. Alignment is permanent. Let me speak directly to your heart. The intensity of your battles is proportional to the magnitude of your assignment. Small destinies do not require great resistance. If you have endured relentless trials, it is because what you carry threatens darkness, and darkness resists what exposes it. But remember this, God never assigns without equipping. He never calls without sustaining. He never selects without protecting. If He has entrusted you with purpose, He has also provided strength sufficient for every obstacle. Guard your humility as your influence grows. Being chosen is not a badge of superiority. It is a call to service. The higher God lifts you, the lower your heart must bow. Pride can destroy what favor built. Always remember that everything you accomplish flows from His permission. Stay grateful, stay teachable, stay dependent. Gratitude keeps the heart aligned. Teachability keeps the mind expanding. Dependence keeps the spirit anchored. You will encounter moments when doubt tries to rewrite your story. Voices will question your worth. Circumstances will challenge your confidence. But do not measure your identity by temporary conditions. Identity is anchored in divine intention, not human opinion. Before anyone misunderstood you, God understood you. Before anyone underestimated you, God envisioned you. Before anyone rejected you, God selected you. That truth is unshakable. And when fatigue settles in, because even the strongest grow weary, remember why you began. You began because something inside you could not ignore the call. You began because ordinary living felt insufficient. You began because God stirred your heart with possibility. Return to that place in your spirit whenever exhaustion threatens to overwhelm you. Renewal does not always come through escape. Sometimes it comes through rough remembrance. As you continue forward, expect expansion, expect growth, expect doors that align with integrity and purpose. But also expect responsibility. Favor increases accountability. Influence magnifies impact. Your words will carry weight. Your actions will inspire others. Live in a way that honors the one who entrusted you with such privilege. You are not an accident of history. You are not a random presence on this earth. You are a deliberate expression of divine intention. The signs in your life, the battles, the resilience, the hunger, the sensitivity, the pruning, the persistence are not fragments of coincidence. They form a pattern, and that pattern reveals selection. Stand firm in that reality. Let it shape your posture. Let it transform your mindset. Let it strengthen your resolve. Walk boldly, but walk humbly. Dream greatly, but submit completely. Pursue excellence, but remain surrendered. Because when God's chosen one fully aligns with His will, nothing in this world can permanently hinder the unfolding of destiny. Now let your spirit rise even higher, because there is a dimension of being chosen that many fail to understand. When God selects a person, He does not only prepare them for what they will do, He prepares them for who they must become. Destiny is not merely about achievements, it is about transformation. God is more concerned with your inner architecture than your outer accomplishments. Titles can be given overnight, but character is carved through years of surrender. If you are chosen, you will notice that God is constantly refining your motives. He will not allow hidden pride to survive. He will expose insecurity. He will confront jealousy. He will challenge impatience. Why? Because what you carry must be sustained by purity of heart. A great calling resting on a weak foundation collapses under pressure. God strengthens the foundation, and before He expands the platform, you may also recognize that your compassion runs deeper than convenience. When others move on from someone's pain, you feel compelled to stay. When others ignore the broken, you are drawn to help. This is not accidental kindness. It is divine imprint. God entrusts His chosen ones with fragments of His mercy. He allows them to feel the burden of others so they can become instruments of relief. And sometimes that burden feels heavy. Sometimes it drains your energy. Sometimes it makes you question why you care so much. but that sensitivity is sacred. Guard it, refine it, but do not suppress it. The world needs those who care beyond personal gain. There is also a strange pattern in your life where what was meant to harm you somehow strengthens you. Betrayal taught you discernment. Rejection taught you resilience. Delay taught you patience. Loss taught you gratitude. You did not enjoy the process, but you cannot deny the growth. God has a way of turning wounds into wisdom. What was designed to break you becomes the very tool that builds you. The chosen are not spared from adversity, they are sculpted by it. Every scar carries a story of survival, and survival under divine protection is never meaningless. At times you may feel as though you are ahead of your season. You sense things before they unfold. You perceive shifts before others recognize them. You prepare while others remain unaware. This foresight is not arrogance. It is awareness granted by closeness to God. The more aligned you are with Him, the more sensitive you become to His movements. That awareness requires responsibility. Do not use insight to elevate yourself. Use it to serve and protect others. Knowledge without humility corrupts. Insight with submission empowers. Another powerful sign of being chosen is that you cannot escape conviction, even when no one else sees you. Our private struggles, your conscience remains active. You feel the weight of compromise quickly. You cannot enjoy wrongdoing without inner conflict. That is evidence of divine discipline. God corrects those He prepares. If He allows you to remain comfortable in error, that would be neglect. But conviction is proof of attention. Correction is proof of care. When God refines you, He is safeguarding your destiny from self-destruction. You may have also experienced sudden redirections. Plans that seemed certain suddenly changed. Paths you carefully designed collapsed. Relationships you trusted dissolved. At first it felt like chaos, but later clarity emerged. You realized that what seemed like disruption was actually protection. God sees intersections you cannot see. He redirects before collision. He closes doors before damage. Trust the interruptions. Trust the detours. They are often divine interventions disguised as disappointment. Listen carefully. Being chosen does not guarantee applause. It guarantees impact. The world may resist you before it respects you. Truth often unsettles before it liberates. Your presence may challenge environments simply because you carry conviction. Do not shrink to make others comfortable. Do not dilute your integrity to fit into temporary circles. You were not shaped for compromise. You were shaped for influence rooted in righteousness. Stand firm even when standing alone feels heavy. Solitude with integrity is stronger than popularity with compromise. There will come moments when your strength feels insufficient. The weight of responsibility may press upon your shoulders. You may question whether you are truly capable. But understand this, God does not choose based on human adequacy. He chooses based on divine purpose. Your weakness is not a liability, it is a channel. When you recognize your dependence, you position yourself for great empowerment. Strength that flows from surrender is sustainable. Strength that flows from ego collapses under strain. Guard your vision carefully. The chosen often face distraction disguised as opportunity. Not every open door is aligned with your assignment. Discernment becomes critical as favor increases. Seek alignment over excitement. Seek obedience over applause. Seek depth over speed. The pace of God may not match the impatience of ambition, but His timing preserves what He builds. Rushing into premature exposure can fracture what was meant to mature quietly. You will also notice that your hunger for truth intensifies over time. Surface answers no longer satisfy you. You seek wisdom that transforms behavior, not information that entertains curiosity. That hunger is a gift. God feeds those who genuinely seek understanding. When you pursue truth with sincerity, He illuminates your path gradually. Revelation often unfolds step by step, strengthening your capacity to handle what is revealed. Let me speak to the hidden tears you have shed, those nights when you questioned your strength, those prayers whispered in exhaustion, those silent pleas for clarity. None of them were wasted. Every sincere cry reached the one who hears beyond words. Every tear watered unseen growth. God collects your sincerity and transforms it into stability. You may not always see immediate answers, but delayed answers do not equal denial. Sometimes the waiting period builds endurance that immediate relief could never create. Chosen ones are also marked by perseverance in obedience. You continue even when results are slow. You remain faithful even when recognition is absent. You serve even when gratitude is rare. That persistence is rare in a world driven by instant reward. But heaven measures consistency. What you do repeatedly shapes who you become permanently, and who you become detail. Rhymes. How far your influence extends. There is a spiritual authority that develops quietly in those who walk closely with God. It is not loud or boastful. It is steady and calm. When you speak, there is weight. When you act, there is intention. That authority does not come from position. It comes from alignment. The more your will aligns with God's will, the more confidence flows naturally. You do not need to force respect. Your presence commands it through authenticity. As your journey unfolds, remember that selection requires surrender. You cannot carry divine purpose while clinging to selfish ambition. Let go of what hinders clarity. Release what feeds ego. Detach from what drains integrity. The more you empty yourself of distraction, the more space God has to fill you with direction. Surrender is not weakness. It is strategic alignment with greater power. You are not merely surviving life. You are being shaped for significance. The challenges you face are not random obstacles. They are training grounds. The delays you endure are not wasted time. They are preparation seasons. The silence you navigate is not abandonment. It is deep construction. God builds depth before He displays destiny. Hold your head high, but keep your heart bowed. Walk forward with courage, but remain anchored in humility. Continue seeking God with sincerity, not performance. Continue trusting His wisdom above your own understanding. If the signs in your life reflect endurance, conviction, hunger, redirection, compassion, resilience, and unwavering belief, then you must accept this profound reality. You are not ordinary. You are set apart for a purpose that transcends temporary struggles. And as long as you remain aligned, disciplined, and faithful, the unfolding of that purpose cannot be stopped by opposition, delayed by doubt, or erased by fear. There is something else you must understand. D, about being God's chosen one. The warfare around your mind will often be more intense than the warfare around your circumstances. The greatest battles are not always visible. They take place in your thoughts, in your confidence, in your sense of identity. Doubt will try to whisper that you are imagining your calling. Comparison will try to convince you that others are more qualified. Regret will attempt to chain you to your past. But when God has marked a life, the first territory that must remain guarded is the mind. If the enemy can distort your self-perception, he can weaken your execution. That is why you must renew your thinking daily. You must remind yourself that your identity is not defined by applause or criticism, but by divine intention. When you align your thoughts with God's truth, confusion loses its grip. You will also notice that being chosen often requires patience beyond human comfort. God's timeline rarely matches your urgency. You may feel ready long before doors open. You may sense capacity long before opportunity arrives. But readiness is not only about skill, it is about spiritual maturity. God waits until your character can sustain what your talent attracts. He waits until your humility can handle visibility. He waits until your discipline can protect your influence. Delay is not rejection, it is alignment. What comes too early can collapse too quickly, but what arrives at the appointed time carries stability. Another powerful truth is this: when God chooses someone, He often plants them in ordinary environments before revealing extraordinary impact. You may be serving in unnoticed places. You may be working in roles that feel beneath your potential. But those environments are classrooms. They teach consistency. They train your focus. They refine your attitude. If you cannot honor God in small assignments, you cannot represent Him in larger ones. Faithfulness in obscurity is the seed of influence in visibility. Do not despise humble beginnings. Roots grow deep in hidden soil before branches stretch toward the sky. There is also a refining of relationships that accompanies divine selection. Not everyone assigned to your past is permitted into your future. As your vision expands, some connections will fade. It will not always be dramatic. Sometimes it is subtle distance. Sometimes it is natural divergence. Do not chase what God is gently removing. Clinging to expired relationships can slow divine momentum. Trust that He aligns you with those who sharpen your growth, challenge your thinking, and protect your integrity. True alignment strengthens purpose rather than distracting from it. You may have experienced the moments where obedience felt costly. Standing for truths required sacrifice. Refusing compromise meant losing advantages. Choosing integrity meant walking away from quick success. But understand this deeply: temporary loss for the sake of obedience produces long-term honor. God never overlooks sacrifice made for righteousness. He records every decision rooted in reverence. The reward may not always be immediate or material, but it will manifest in peace, clarity, and sustainable influence. There is a courage that develops in those who know they are chosen. It is not loud or reckless. It is quiet and steady. It allows you to step into unfamiliar territory with calm assurance. It gives you strength to say no when pressure demands yes. It empowers you to remain consistent when others fluctuate. That courage is born from trust. When you truly believe that God governs your path, fear loses its authority. You may still feel uncertainty, but it does not control you. Trust becomes your anchor. Let me speak to your sense of responsibility. When God marks a life, it is never solely for personal advancement. It is for collective impact. You are blessed to become a blessing. Your growth is designed to uplift others. Your wisdom is meant to guide. Your endurance is meant to inspire. If your elevation does not benefit someone beyond yourself, it is incomplete. The chosen carry influence that extends outward. They become examples of integrity, resilience, and devotion. Their lives speak even when their mouths are silent. You will also encounter seasons of stretching. God will ask you to operate beyond your comfort zone. He will invite you into spaces that intimidate you. He will call you to responsibilities that feel larger than your experience. That stretching is expansion. Muscles only grow when they are challenged. Faith only grows when it is exercised. If you always remain where you feel secure, you will never discover the depths of strength placed within you. Embrace the stretch. It is evidence that growth is happening. Another angle you must consider is discipline. Favor without discipline becomes fragility. Opportunity without discipline becomes waste. God may open doors, but you must develop the habits that sustain what those doors reveal. Wake up with intention, guard your time, protect your focus, invest in learning, cultivate prayer. Discipline is not restriction, it is preparation. It ensures that when increase arrives, you are ready to manage it wisely. You may have also sensed that your life carries symbolic weight. Certain events feel larger than themselves. Certain encounters feel divinely orchestrated. That awareness is not superstition. It is spiritual sensitivity. God weaves patterns through your journey. What appears random often reveals purpose in hindsight. Learn to reflect. Learn to discern lessons within experiences. The chosen do not move through life unconsciously. They observe, they evaluate, they grow. Do not underestimate the power of consistency. Grand gestures are impressive, but daily obedience builds legacy. The decision to pray when tired, the choice to forgive when hurt, the effort to remain honest when lying would be easier. These small acts accumulate into spiritual strength. And over time, strength becomes stability. Stability becomes influence. Influence becomes impact. There will be moments when you question whether the burden is worth it, when responsibility feels heavy, when sacrifice feels exhausting. In those moments, remember the privilege embedded within the calling. Out of countless lives, God entrusted you with awareness, with hunger, with resilience, with purpose. That trust is sacred. Treat it with reverence. Do not compare your assignment to another's. Comparison breeds distraction. Focus breeds excellence. As you continue forward, cultivate gratitude intentionally. Gratitude protects your heart from entitlement. It reminds you that every opportunity is a gift. It shifts your perspective from complaint to appreciation. A grateful heart remains soft, and a soft heart remains teachable. God elevates those who remain humble in gratitude. Finally, understand that being chosen is not a one-time event. It is a daily decision. Each day you choose alignment. Each day you choose obedience. Each day you choose integrity. The mark of God upon your life becomes visible through repeated surrender. Do not wait for dramatic confirmation. Live as though you are chosen, and your actions will reflect it. Speak with purpose. Walk with intention. Serve. Trust with confidence. The journey ahead may not always be easy, but it will always be meaningful. The path may narrow at times, but it will never lead to emptiness. Because when God sets His hand upon a life, that life carries destiny within it. And destiny, when embraced with humility and faith, unfolds with power that no opposition can permanently silence. So now, after hearing every sign, every confirmation, every layer of truth, the question is no longer whether God chooses people. The question is whether you will fully accept that He has chosen you. Because revelation without acceptance changes nothing. Awareness without action produces no transformation. If these words have echoed your life, if your spirit has felt stirred and awakened, then this is not coincidence. This is alignment. This is confirmation. This is your moment to stand in agreement with what God has been declaring over you long before you understood it. You are not here by accident. You did not survive those storms by chance. You are not preserved through confusion, betrayal, delay, and hardship merely to exist. You are preserved because you are appointed. You are sustained because you are assigned. Every battle you endured was building strength. Every tear you cried was deepening compassion. Every season of silence was expanding your faith. Every closed door was redirecting your path. When you look back, you will not see being God's chosen one does not mean you are above others. It means you are accountable to a higher standard. It means your life must reflect integrity when compromise is easy. It means your heart must remain humble when favor increases. It means your faith must remain steady when visibility grows. The greater the calling, the deeper the surrender required. And surrender is not weakness. It is power under divine direction. Do not shrink anymore. Do N. Ought silence your conviction to fit into small spaces. Do not minimize your calling because others cannot comprehend it. Walk boldly, but walk humbly. Speak truth, but lead with compassion. Remain disciplined. Remain grateful. Remain aligned, because alignment sustains what ambition alone cannot. There will still be challenges. There will still be resistance, but you now understand what those battles signify. They are not signals of abandonment. They are confirmations of significance. They are reminders that your life carries weight, and weight is given only to what matters. Lift your vision higher. Guard your mind fiercely. Protect your heart diligently. Trust His wisdom above your impatience. Trust His wisdom above your fear. When doubt whispers, answer with conviction. When obstacles rise, respond with perseverance. When fatigue settles in, return to gratitude. The same God who carried you through yesterday is already present in your tomorrow. The same hand that shielded you from destruction is guiding you toward destiny. Nothing you faced was wasted. Nothing you endured was unseen. Nothing you sacrificed was ignored. Heaven recorded it all. Stand firm in this unshakable truth. You are chosen for purpose, refined through pressure, strengthened by struggle, preserved by favor, and guided by divine wisdom. Live like it, think like it, act like it. Let your life become evidence of what happens when a person fully embraces the call of God with humility, courage, and unwavering faith.